Well, welcome back to another episode of the Cost of Doing Business show. I am out here in Utah. We're here in Nashville, in Kansas City, Missouri, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I am with the boys from Top Rock, with none other than Dan Preston himself, John Minahan's place, Mike Letts, Don Faust, Hunter Hutchinson, Justin and Landon from Alpha, Trevor from Elevated Pines, here with Seth Wharton from Get Motivated.
We are in Manny's The Construction Life podcast.
And we're gonna enjoy a conversation together.
Let's do it.
Back then when I was hand digging, everything was $1,000. I have a client that I did a front patio for. They asked for a quote and I was like, $1,000. After that project was done, their neighbor needed a side walkway. And I was like, yeah, that's $1,000. And then that neighbor wanted something done in the back and I was like, it's $1,000. And then this neighbor was like, is everything $1,000?
That is hilarious.
Yeah. Things are cliche for a reason. You don't know what you don't know. When you're starting a business and you love the install side of things, you don't necessarily know how to price yourself properly, right? Everybody needs to know it.
Yeah,
Everybody needs to know how to recover your overhead. The biggest thing I hear is overhead is just the cost of doing business. And that's what I heard when I was just starting up. It didn't make sense. Like, why should I be eating this? I should be making money on this.
Everyone in my family owned a business, but no one ever made money. My grandpa, he worked until he was like 90 years old by himself. And I'm visualizing me as him. How do I get out of that predicament?
Yeah.
Like, how do I change that? Time is more valuable than money. You can gain some of your time back by getting synced
buy
up.
It back.
Buy it back. This year, I've been paying myself about $10,000 a month.
You went from 20 a year to
20 a year to 10 a month. And the business has money in the bank. After that, I look at the accounts, I'm like, where'd all this money come from? And the only thing to equate is SynkedUP. I wasn't charging enough. I wasn't recouping my costs. I was essentially kind of working for free.
So you paid $5,000 to get synced up, and you not only recovered that $5,000 synced up, but all the other stuff you were not recovering.
Yeah.
And righted the ship.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times, somewhere throughout the year I would get in a tight pinch, just to make payroll. I'd be like, man, if we don't get some money in, are we gonna be able to make payroll this week? We weren't charging it right, we weren't saving right. Now with SynkedUP, it's really alleviated a lot of financial stressors. We know we're charging appropriately. You gotta make sure you capture, anything that changes, or you gotta make sure you're estimating properly, because at the end of the day, you're working to make money and feed your family, feed your team and all that. And for you to excel in this, you're gonna have to make sure you're charging properly. It's very easy to undercharge or not be charging properly. Just having a system like that, it's been life-changing. The weekly webinars, and y'all have just the mountain of information to learn from, to how to use the software and how to all the automations and templating and stuff like that. This is powerful, and it's going to continue just to get even better.
Yeah.
I like where it's all going.
Well, I appreciate that. Hardworking people doing good work, but just feel like they can't get ahead. Now it clicks, and now they get ahead. Is that's what gets me up and at it every day.
I mean, there's been times where I felt beat down, and ultimately it's like, hey, I've got a crew of 10 to 18 guys. They need to eat. They need to pay their bills. They need to pay their mortgage. They need to support their families. And I'm like, keep going. It's been a lifesaver. The work that Tiffany and I put in to build out the templates and the estimating system and the systems we have in general for the whole company, linking the office to the crew, the information they get so that they can do their jobs efficiently and quickly and pull up all the information they need, have been priceless.
I lost a project this week. We were like $8,000 higher at a 20% margin. It was simple. It was just a pull in concrete, but still we were $8,000 higher. And I knew it going into it, but I was like, I'm not going to cut myself short. Mm-hmm. For me to get to $8,000 for you puts me at a 10% net. And that's a lot of effort to make 10%. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, no, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, 10% is the bare minimum. You don't want to go below that. Single digits you're riding both feet on a banana peel.
Yeah. When we redid our budget coming to SynkedUP and you go to the analysis and you see that gross margin start, it's like, oh, this is so much. On a $100,000 project, it's $40,000 net or whatever. Yeah, but if you're not taking out the overhead to get to your gross number,
it vanishes quickly.
I think you can fool yourself into thinking like, oh yeah, no, that can't be right. There's fluff in that. And it's not true. When we win it, it's great. And then when we lose it, we lose, and not.
Yeah, well,
Skin off our back.
as long as you can keep your pipeline full, the job's at
Yep.
20%. I mean, why would you change? Because why would you work just as hard for half the profit?
Yeah.
Build your budget, and as long as the market is rewarding you with sold jobs that keep your pipeline full and keep your guys busy
Yeah.
at the net that you want to be at, I mean, why work just as hard for half the profit?
I just love what you're doing for contractors out there, because a lot of people will bow out or give up or something,
Yeah.
and making it past 5 years
Yeah.
or whatever. But a lot of people just won't figure out their numbers or won't, figure out their overhead, and they won't even survive.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm sure you see that too.
100%.
And I don't.
The toggling on and off of work areas. That's really awesome, to where we can actually vet it by doing that more.
So you give them options like A, B, C.
I mean, we give them options anyways.
Yeah.
But it's like, we have to sit down with them. We have to say, okay, this, and this. Well, I don't want this. But in the sense of SynkedUP, it's, I really want these things, but I can't afford that $100,000 project.
Yeah.
But click. Oh, it's at 75,000. I actually took this project that we're doing that I've put into SynkedUP, just sent it to my dad, and he was like, "Oh, this is awesome. This is cool." It's like, we don't want to do the planting this year. We put that up. That saves us 20. This saves us 10. This saves, something like that can make a customer feel more wanted.
Or in control. They're not feeling sold to, they get to select.
Which is like they're selling themselves, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I want to buy this plant. I think I will. Okay,
yeah.
cool.
We never made any money before we signed up for SynkedUP. The estimating, the budgeting, the job costing, like all of those things working together, make sure you make money. I would have taken my personal debit card and put it in there at this point. And the next project that we bid, it would have paid ourselves back. Thank you for all that you do and your team. Like, we really appreciate it. Those 90 nights on the road, like, we wouldn't have SynkedUP without those. So like, your family sacrificed in that season, but we're definitely thankful for that, because our family gets to enjoy this season.
I appreciate that.
I did it. Everybody makes the same mistake. You put too much time and effort on the skill and not enough time and effort on the paper. If you're allocating 100 hours a week to build your skill set, to practice your skill set, you got to be doing 100 hours a week on the paper side of the business. If you're not doing that, then you're going to fail. 100% you're going to fail. The same amount of money you want to spend on buying tools, you should be spending on putting systems in place. Unfortunately, a lot of the people that we interviewed, they got hurt. They got hurt, and then they were shut down because they couldn't work. And then while they were recouping, they were thinking about how to rebuild their business, and they were focusing on the paper side of the business.
The systems.
But it took that getting hurt, that injury, to let them know,
force it.
I have to focus on this now, because physically I can't do what I'm really good at. But if you go into the business right now, I spend $1,000 a week on new tools, I'm going to spend $1,000 on a system. If I'm going to spend 100 hours on building my craft, I'm going to spend 100 hours building a system. If you do that ratio, I rather you go more on the systems and the paper side. Me personally, I think even 10 or 20 points more. But if you go 50-50, because right now, most tradespeople, most contractors, what is it? It's got to be 91, 92% big craft, and then a trickle of whatever, whatever comes up.
And to your point, I've heard many a contractor that's been at it for 20 plus years say the same thing. I focus too much on
the skill set,
the skills. I think that's good advice.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
No company's the same. You could be a $10 million, $20 million company, or you could be a $800,000 company, but everybody's numbers are going to be different. In my early days, I always would go off what other guys are charging.
Yep.
And from that, I found out, man, I was losing my shorts, doing what other people are doing.
Yep.
And so that I was like, I need to know what I'm doing, and what other people are doing, that's fine with them. That's their choice. And if they're getting this job for a lot less, and I'm here, I mean, this is my number, and it is what it is.
And you don't have to agonize over that.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's 100% right. There is no shortcut to finding your own rates. Oh, my competitor's charging that rate. They look like they're doing good. They're making money. They're buying equipment. So I guess that rate will work for me too. Does not work that way.
Man, it can happen so quick. I've been there. I mean, you can work hard for 3 or 5 years and then get so busy, it's just, you have nothing. SynkedUP, full transparency, accountability, be able to correct things, just making things easier.
I feel the weight of that every day. Like, every time someone signs up, they're casting their vote that we can help them take their $1 and turn it into 10, you know, and I feel that weight. And when you vote with that, I feel that responsibility to help you achieve your goals for your business. So I just want to say thank you for putting your faith and trust in us and for being a part of the SynkedUP crew, and looking forward to being a part of your journey going forward. So,
customer of ours, we had given her a quote on a chain link fence before the software. Then we came back the following year with SynkedUP and we looked at the numbers and we're like, we're gonna do half the fence for the same price as the whole fence.
Trying to justify, hey, I'm learning business every single year. As I learn my numbers, this is where I gotta be and I can't budge on it.
And she said, you guys are gonna lose a lot of work because of this new software.
A month and a half later, she comes back and approves it.
There's people out there that are willing to pay for it. You gotta show your worth. Yeah, we're higher, but we're justifying why we're higher. That's just what it comes down to, is having a solid reputation, and you can sell that.
Confidence in your bid. Back in 2018, give a project a bid out and it's 15, 20,000 to do a brick patio, and you're like, this customer ain't never gonna do it. Anymore, it's nothing to send 30, 40,000 out, and you're like, this is the bid, we're gonna send it. And go with your gut feeling. If you think it's gonna take 50 hours, don't price 30 hours just because you think your 50 hours looks like a way too big of a number. Write down what you think you're gonna need, look at it, and if the price is really high, double check your numbers, but don't just cut it out just because you wanna get that price lower. If you're gonna need 50 hours, send it.
It's not easy work. You for sure don't wanna cut yourself short on a hard job. Making money on a job that sucks is a lot better than not making money on a job that sucks.
That was probably the biggest thing to wrap our brains around it with first, and now it's pretty, you send it and see what happens.
At the end of the year, we weren't really sure if we were gonna make, you know, a good profit, or not confident if we could like buy something, a piece of equipment, what's that's gonna do to us. We just wanted to know.
Well, thanks a lot, guys. This is probably one of the favorite things I get to do, is hang out with our customers and these podcasts, tell stories, and just get to know each other. So appreciate that.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah. Absolutely.